Hi, everyone. As a continuation of my last week's video about kindness being the secret to a loving relationship, it occurred to me that many of us may appreciate a list of examples of what people in long term relationships can do to show random acts of loving kindness to their partners. So, today I would like to provide a list of ideas for random acts of loving kindness. Though most of the acts listed may seem like common sense, it's still important to highlight them in a world where many people in relationships have taken each other for granted and have become lazy in showing kindness. I invite you to add your own ideas and comments below so we can all start practicing acts of kindness to our loved ones and improve our relationships. Okay. And I just want to say that this includes me. I mean, this is everybody, folks. We all know after a while, whether you're married or you're in a long term relationship, after a while, we all tend to get a little bit lazy. It's just, I think it's human nature that once we get comfortable and we feel secure in a relationship, we do start taking each other for granted. Okay. So I really believe showing random acts of loving kindness is definitely a way to keep the relationship strong, keep it intimate, keep it loving. It's just very important. So before we begin, I just want to take a moment to mention that showing kindness doesn't need to cost a lot of money. Giving gifts counts to show kindness, but oftentimes it's also the little things that mean the most and have sentimental value when it comes to expressing love. With that said, let's begin the list of random acts of loving kindness. Okay, so this is not in any kind of special order. Okay, I just as I thought of things, I just jotted them down. So there's no rhyme or reason, or this is just a list that I came up with. And like I mentioned earlier, if you have any if you feel free to add to your own list. Okay, so this is just my list, but it's not going to be all inclusive. Okay. Hand an extra plate to your partner while standing in a buffet line before getting your own plate. Be willing to share a portion of your food with your partner when your partner doesn't like what he or she ordered. Protect your union with your partner from the outside world, even when having a disagreement. Strive to reach a compromise or offer one to resolve conflict. Talk to your partner in a gentle voice, even when having a disagreement. Consider your partner's opinions and suggestions. Thank your partner for offering suggestions. Be quick to sincerely apologize when you make a mistake. Ask your partner what he or she wants to watch on TV before grabbing the remote control. Now, I just want to stop here. I know this is a big one, folks. I know there's been jokes saying that the remote really belongs to the guy. The guy, the TV and the remote is a guy thing. However, I still think it's important because nowadays there's a lot of programming and movies that are geared to women as well. And so I do think that it's a good idea that if you're a guy, that you also be respectful and ask your significant other if there's anything they'd be interested in watching. Now I know I have friends that have ended up buying multiple television sets in their house to mediate this problem, right? So that if one person wants to watch something the other person doesn't want to watch, then the other person can go to a separate room and watch it, right? And that works too. That's fine. But if you don't have the room or the extra luxury, money to purchase multiple television sets, then this is definitely something I would recommend. I think there should be an equal sharing consideration for each other. Okay, so in those cases, then this is what I would recommend. Drive your car responsibly when your partner is riding with you. Pretend your partner is a grandparent sitting next to you when driving. Okay, now this is another thing. I know, including myself, I know a lot of women complain that their partners have road rage. Okay, I don't know if it's a guy thing with the adrenaline going and just their testosterone. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, maybe it's their aggression, their aggressive nature, and their drive just being a man. But for us women, it's not a very peaceful thing to experience when we're sitting next to our significant other, and they're getting angry, and they're showing road rage. Okay, so I would say, if you're a guy and you're listening, if you're a man out there, you're listening, please take into consideration and think of your significant other as your grandmother, okay? And I would suggest that you drive your car. When I say responsibly, I mean there's no rush unless you are late for, for an event. Otherwise, what's the rush, right? So when you're in the car, when your spouse or your girlfriend is in the car with you, then I would recommend you pretend it's your grandmother. Drive slowly, carefully, and just make it a smooth ride. Okay. Maintain chivalry and common courtesy towards your partner. Okay, now this is another thing that I think after a while, if you're a guy listening to me, I know in the beginning stages of the dating stages, you're quick to open the door for your girlfriend, right? You pull out the chair in the restaurant. You do all these gentlemanly things, right? And some of you men, after you get married or you've been in a long-term relationship, after a while, you kind of just forget. Or your girlfriend or wife might just open up the car door themselves or seat themselves, and you don't think about it. You don't think twice about it. I would challenge you guys, even if your wife or girlfriend starts to open the door, open the car door, or open or pull out their chair themselves in a restaurant, I would still maintain that act, that chivalrous act. Okay, it just shows a minimal amount of respect. It shows that you care for the safety of your loved one. You want to make sure that they're seated properly. You want to make sure that the door is closed in the car so that it's not open, right? It's just to me, it just goes a little bit of the extra mile, and it just shows your significant other that you care, okay, or that you care more. Let's put it that way. So I would recommend that you can continue practicing acts of chivalry. Okay. And then offer to dine out if your partner is tired, or offer to cook if you know how. Same principle. If your wife or girlfriend is, she had a bad day at work, or maybe she didn't get enough sleep the night before and she's just extremely tired, right? I would recommend that you maybe offer to cook. If you know how to cook, offer to cook, or you can offer to take her out to eat. Trust me, that will go a long way, folks. It's just, and I'm not saying this has to be done all the time, okay, or even regularly. This is just in those situations because, I'm assuming that your significant other doesn't have a bad day often, right? We all don't have bad days often. Obviously, if you were, or if, obviously, if people are working at a place that they're having a bad day every day, well, then maybe other considerations have to be in place at that point. They may not be the right job. If someone has a boss that's toxic, or if they're in a toxic work environment, then further discussion and consideration needs to be made. Right? It's not worth coming home every day or spending every day 8 hours a day, 8 to 10, 12 hours a day at work being miserable or being mistreated or being abused. So, but assuming that, we all have a bad day once in a blue moon, this is what I'm talking about, right? So just pay attention to how your significant other, what their moods are, how they are after work. And, once in a blue moon, offer to cook or offer to take her out to eat. Surprise your partner occasionally with a little gift such as flowers, candy, or favorite treat. Okay, now this will depend on who you're with. Everyone's different. Some women are allergic to certain foods or candy or flowers, or some may have health issues that they can't eat, sweets, right? So this is going to have to be customized to every relationship. So you men out there and you women, you know your significant other. You know what your partner's needs are. Okay, you know their health issues. You know what they can and can't, or what they won't, what they will or will not appreciate, right? So I just as an example, I just said flowers, candy, and favorite treat, right? A treat could be maybe to bake them their favorite cake or something like that, right? But again, this is going to be customized per relationship. Okay. The offer to massage when your partner is feeling stressed or had a bad day. This is similar to the other thing we talked about if they had a bad day. You could also offer to massage them, if they like massages, of course, right? Some people don't like massages. I know my ex-husband didn't like massages, so I knew that that's not something he would appreciate, right? So again, just something to keep in mind. Be aware say, text or call a few times a day when away from home to stay connected. Now, these are for you guys who are workaholics, or if you guys have a demanding job and you really um, you're at a job that's very, very stressful and demanding, right? I still think you should take time out, if not 3 times a day, maybe once, okay, during lunch. Just send a quick text message. A text really doesn't take that much time, right? But it does go a long way from the person that's receiving it. And if some of you, I know you may be working for a company that there's a security issue where you may not be able to have access to your phone, right? That's now maybe during lunchtime you'll be able to, right? So then at that point you can quickly just send a text. Just say, "Hey, thinking about you," or just say, "Hey, how to say how your day is going," and just ask them how their day is going in the text message, and and just have a quick thing. Just let them know that you're thinking about them, right? um or if you do have 10 minutes, 5 minutes to talk at lunchtime, or if you have a break, by all means. And if you know that your partner also is free to be able to talk, then definitely give them a call just for a few minutes. Just say, "Hey, thinking about you, and this is what's been going on at work, and how's your day going, and looking forward to seeing you this evening." And right, just it's just nothing extravagant, but just it's just touching base to let them know that you're thinking about them. Right? I think it will go a long way. Be aware of your partner's moods and offer comfort. Okay, that's just like the other things we've been talking about. Okay, you need to be aware when you come home from work, you need to be aware of your partner's mood. Whether you're a man or woman, doesn't matter. Husband, boyfriend, or wife, girlfriend, uh just be aware of how they're feeling. If they need to talk, they're having a bad day or bad mood. Um express your appreciation of your partner at least once a day. Okay, this is similar to what I said earlier about making the phone call, but this also means expressing meaning verbally. Okay, I know on the phone a lot of us will say "I love you, bye" or "love you, bye." Right? That's a common thing couples will say before they hang up the phone. Well, that's nice, right? But what I'm talking about is more than that. If this is more face to face, in person expressing your appreciation of that person. And again, doesn't have to be anything major, but just something minor. It could be as simple as if you're home together and you see your wife, washing the dishes or cleaning up the table after dinner, to go up to behind her and hug her and then kiss her on the cheek and say, "Hey, thank you for a delicious meal, and I appreciate you cleaning up tonight. I really appreciate all the work that you do after work, because a lot of couples now, you have two income families, and so it's not anymore where the women stay home. Women are working also. So, but even if a woman's a housewife or she's a mother, she's taking care of the kids all day, that's work too, right? So just acknowledge that, right? When after dinner, just pay her a nice compliment. And you women, same thing. Your husband worked hard at work all day. To earn money to help pay bills. Let him know. Tell him thank you for waking up early every day and going out and making money for the whole family. Or if you know something else he's doing, that's helping around the house, acknowledge it and thank him for it. Okay. Say "I love you" at least once a day to your partner, face to face, not just on the phone. Okay, so yeah, I just said that before. I didn't know I'd written this down, but we just talked about that a few minutes ago. Um, so so in addition to the "love you" bye on the phone, right? Say it face to face as often as you want. Say it, multiple times at night, say it at least a couple times in the morning before you head off to work if you guys are both up. Say it before you go to bed, right? And so now I know I realize not everyone is verbally expressive of their feelings, okay? And some cultures are not that way. Now I know Asian cultures, especially. From my background on my family, my parents are Chinese, so Chinese and other Asian, especially old fashioned Asian folks, they're not really verbally expressed. They don't really say I love you that much, right? As a kid growing up, I never heard my parents say I love you. Now, as adults, they are saying it now, okay? Um, but I think as kids, I don't recall my parents ever saying I love you, but they showed it by acts, okay? Um, and so I'm not saying right or wrong, okay? So I'm not saying that if someone doesn't say that they love you, doesn't mean they don't love you, okay? But at this point, I would say to your partner, okay, if you're not used to expressing it, maybe try it. Try to say it, okay? Um, change is very uncomfortable for most of us. And if you're someone who's very shy and you're not used to being expressive, it may take a while for you to come out of your shell and to feel comfortable verbalizing your emotions, right? So you just start off small, right? If you're a man or woman and you're not really used to saying "I love you," just start out saying that, okay? Um, just one step at a time, and eventually you'll get used to saying "I love you." Because when you say "I love you," your significant other will also say that back to you. And then, it's like with anything else. As a habit, you get used to it, okay? And really and truly, saying "I love you" really shouldn't be looked at as a habit. It should be heartfelt, okay? Um, Now I know, there's like there's information out there about the 5 love languages, right? I think it's like, there's gifts, there's, affirmation, there's, touch, and I think there's 2 other ones, I can't remember what it was, um, but everyone expresses and receives love differently, right? Uh, so even with that said, I would still say it's nice to hear someone say "I love you." Okay, and like I said, my parents now say "I love you," and I think it's because all of us siblings are all grown up now. We're all adults, and because we say it now that we say it, our parents say it back. But when we were kids, I don't think we said it, so so our parents never said it. Okay, so things have evolved, things have changed, and I don't think you can ever go wrong hearing it or saying that I love you. Okay. Put the phone away when you're with your partner. Now, this is a big one, folks. You and I both know we see couples in the restaurants on their phone. It may happen in your own home, right? You both are at the table eating, and one or both of you are on the phone, or your kids are on the phone. I would make it a rule for the family that while you're eating dinner, to put your phone away. Okay. Um, because it's too much of a distraction, and time is so precious as it is with everyone in their commitments and activities going on every day. It's very difficult for a family to all get together just for a little while to eat. And so that to me is precious time. Now, I want to say my opinion on this could be biased just a little bit. And that's because I grew up in a family where my dad was a family man, and he was home at the dinner table every single night. Okay. He had a 9 to 5 job where he was at home at 6 o'clock, and we all ate together every single night as a family. So now I realize there's different jobs out there, and not every job the husband or wife who work outside the home is able to be home at the same time. I get that. Okay. So this doesn't apply to the different work schedules out there. But it does apply on the one or few days. If there are 1 or 2 days of the week that you guys are all together for dinner, then this is what would apply. Okay. On the times that you are able to meet together to eat together, I would recommend put the phones away. Okay. This is a time where you guys can share stories, talk about your day, talk about your feelings. It's a time to communicate. And the last thing everyone needs is a phone ringing or a distraction of someone calling in. Now, if it's an emergency, that's different. Okay, we're not talking about emergencies or people that call in with emergencies, but just an everyday, regular day, I would recommend you put your phone away. Look directly at your partner when talking. Being distracted is disrespectful and rude. This is another thing that's pretty big. I know a lot of people who nowadays everyone's got a cell phone, okay? And it's too easy to just multitask and play with your phone or be on your phone and listen to what your spouse is saying or your girlfriend or boyfriend is saying, and you're not really having an eye to eye contact. I just think it's respectful. Okay, when someone's talking to you, you guys need to lock eyes so that I to me that's the minimal respect. If you're on the phone, you're looking down and you're not really looking eye to eye with your partner, it just shows a lack of interest and a lack of respect. And to me, frankly, I think it's rude. And like I said, it happens a lot. It does most relationships, when you start taking each other for granted, it could evolve to that level of disrespect, okay? It just slowly, it's not it's you start out when you're in the dating phase, right? You're all paying attention to each other. Then as you get to know each other, after a year, you get married, 3 kids later, it just gets too easy to start ignoring each other and forgetting to do those little things that are important to show respect, to show the kindness, to show that you care and love your partner. Okay. Smile more and complain less to your partner. Give your partner grace when mistakes are made. Refrain from criticizing or correcting your partner in public. Offer a compliment to your partner when he or she gets stressed up. You may not care for compliments yourself, but your partner will feel appreciated. All right, now to go back to the other one, I just wanted to share something. Refrain from criticizing or correcting your partner in public. This happens a lot, folks. We've all seen couples who end up, snapping at each other or making sarcastic comments to each other, or even perhaps even arguing with each other in front of everybody in a restaurant or a supermarket. Okay, it's probably happened to you. I know it's happened to me. It's we need to be mindful of our emotions. We need to have emotional regulation. And we're not perfect, okay? I'm not saying I'm perfect. I failed too, okay? But in general, overall, we need to be mindful of our emotions. And if there's something that our partner says that we don't agree with, whether it is offensive or whether it was just the wrong information, give your partner grace. Okay, don't call them out on it in front of other people or in public. It's just very, very humiliating. Okay, and if you think about it, would you want to be called out if you said something wrong or something that you didn't know offended your partner? Would you want that your partner to call you out in front of friends and family or strangers? I don't think you would. So it's that golden rule: do unto others. Okay, and just have the respect that wait till you get home or wait till you get in the car. Just wait until you two are alone in a car behind closed doors or at home to talk about things. Okay. I just don't think it's proper to be uh, expressing your disagreement or having or criticizing your partner in public. Okay, it's just not appropriate. Um, okay, and like I said, when your partner gets dressed up, offer a compliment. Okay, now you men, you need to understand us women. If you don't, for those of you men who don't understand, listen up. A lot of people often think that us women get dressed up, you know, um, well, it's not, there's maybe some women, I mean, most women get dressed up if they're going out on a date or they're going out with their husband, right? We're getting dressed up to look nice for you. Okay. Now, of course, if the women go out with their girlfriends, that's different. I'm just saying when they're with you, they're spending an evening with you outside the house, whether it's at an event or at a restaurant. Okay. They're getting dressed up for you. Okay. And whether or not you like what they wear, okay, we all know, okay, it, you, women are very sensitive about compliments and insults. Okay. say something nice, okay? Even if you don't like the color or pattern of the dress or something, just know she bought it. She picked it out. She likes it, okay? So, you know, to me, it's a little thing. There's no harm just, I don't want to say it's not really lying, but it's being supportive. Okay? I look at it like it's being emotionally supportive and building intimacy in your relationship, okay? Regardless whether you like it. Now, if the outfit is totally outrageous, okay, I'm just saying if the outfit, if she's hanging out of her clothes, okay, if the outfit there's not much to the outfit, if it's something extreme, okay, that's different, okay. But if it's just if it's just a nice outfit, just pay her a compliment, okay? Just say, hey, you look nice tonight, okay, and just leave it at that. Okay? Just realize that she's doing it for you. So be mindful and courteous and just pay her that compliment. Now, I do know from friends and family, there are some men out there who just are not comfortable paying compliments. Okay. Some men don't even pay attention to what a woman's wearing. They don't care. Okay, well, I mean, I understand that. And especially when you're married or you've been in a long-term relationship, uh, you've seen her wear every color, everything already, and you may have seen the outfit already. Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay, this is all part of continually maintaining happiness in your relationship, maintaining the love and respect in your relationship. Okay, God knows how many arguments people get into every day, and God knows that there's enough negativity in the world that if we can just show random acts of love and kindness, just being kind as much as we can, it still probably won't. Um, it Out of all the negative things that happen in the world, it may not cover it may not, what's the word I'm trying to say? It's there's still gonna be more negative, things that happen in the world than good, right? So what I'm trying to say is I can't think of the word now, um, I would say with as much negativity there in the world, I think we need to do as much as we can to be positive, to express positivity, okay, to negate all the negative, to try to negate as much negativity as we can, okay? So we need more positivity and affirmations in the world. So guys, girls, if you hear this, men want to hear compliments too. Even though, a lot of us think that men don't care about compliments, but, I would say when a man gets dressed up, he's doing it for you too, right? It works both ways. So recognize that, okay? And just pay your compliment. Find opportunities to say positive words of affirmation or encouragement to your partner, which I just said. Celebrate and plan special events, vacations, and holidays. Now, this is a big one. For those of you who've been in long-term relationships or you've been married for a very, 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 very long time and you got a busy life, okay? For those of us who have a very, very busy life, it's very probably, and you have children, okay? It's probably hard to find free time for you and your partner to go out and either go on a date or plan a vacation, okay? And it's too easy to say someday. It's too easy to say, well, we'll do it next year or we'll do it a few months from now. It's funny how when you put things off, you procrastinate, the date just gets pushed further and further, right? So I'm just saying here is that again, it's all part of showing kindness and maintaining your loving relationship is to make sure you celebrate special occasions, special events. If your partner got a raise, right? So let's celebrate it, or something positive happens, let's celebrate it. Um, and make sure you plan events, vacations, um, and holidays. Celebrate holidays, right? We need to keep up with that. Acknowledge and honor your partner's request in a timely manner to avoid nagging. Okay, now this is a big one. You guys know what I'm talking about here. I know you guys hate us women nagging. Well, I got news for you guys. Us women hate nagging you, okay? I don't know one woman that I've ever met that enjoys nagging. Truth be known and truth be told, okay? I'm a woman and I just want to say to you guys out there, we do not like nagging, okay? There's nothing more that would please us if we ask you the first time that you acknowledge us, okay? Again, it's part of not being on your phone, being distracted. If we ask you to do something, pay attention. Put your phone down and say, "Yes, dear." And if she asks you, when you get a chance, could you da 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 da, whatever it is, could you take out the trash or can you do this? Can you sweep up? Whatever. Say, okay, I'll get to it as soon as I can. Okay. Not I'll get to it someday or not some kind of snarky, sarcastic comment. Just acknowledge with a smile. Okay. Say, okay, sure, hun. Sure, dear. I'll get to it as soon as I can. And if you happen to know when you can, I'd throw that in there. Because that will also prevent the nagging. If you know for a fact that you'll be free in 2 hours, say that. Say, let me finish up what I'm doing right now, and I'll get to it in a couple hours. Okay, perfect. That's what we want to hear. Or if you know you have a busy honey list that you're working on, because when you own a home, especially, you always have something to do. There's always some kind of house project going on, right? So I would say that if you do have a long list of things that you have to do around the house, okay, think about what your wife's or girlfriend's asking and think quickly. Or if you don't know offhand, just say, okay, let me think about when I can squeeze that in. Give me a little bit and give me a half hour and I'll let you know. Okay. Give us women something to make us feel that you heard us, you respect us, and you honor our request. Now, obviously, if you think our request is not reasonable, then certainly it is up for discussion. Okay, it's not up for arguments. But if you feel that we're asking for something that you want to negotiate, then by all means, that would be the time to negotiate, right? Like, for instance, if she says, "Well, can you get all the leaves raked?" Right? And you know for a fact the leaves that's a larger project than she thinks, and it may take, instead of taking 1 hour, it may take 4 hours, right? So there's something like that. Instead of being sarcastic or instead of getting angry, just say to her, "Well, hun, I don't know what you're thinking as far as time-wise, but, I only have, 2 hours free today or tomorrow, whenever, and so it's gonna take about 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours to rake up all the leaves around the yard. So, it may take me about a week or 2 to get it all done. Okay? And that's fair. Okay? You know, uh, I think a lot of times you men think that us women want you to do it right away. Now, there's some chores there are some things that do require immediate attention, right? But then there are some things that do not require immediate attention. But at the very least, it would be appreciative if you men would just give us a response. Okay, give us a response that actually shows that you've listened to us, you will honor our request. And so this way, in that will help. Okay, because I know this is a sore subject with a lot of couples. Men complain that women always nag, and women complain that they feel their husband's lazy, or they're not listening to them. Okay, it goes both ways, folks. Okay, so to alleviate and improve the situation, I would just say, do your part. Okay, and I just want you to know, in case you don't know, women do not like nagging. Okay, there's nothing we like more if you guys would just respond to us appropriately. Okay, and and you'll be surprised. If you start responding to your wife or girlfriend immediately, she'll be surprised. She will be shocked. Okay? So, but it's little things like that I think makes a difference in a relationship, especially a long-term relationship. Okay? Um, let's see. Be proactive, doing your share of household chores. Okay, this kind of goes back to what we just talked about, except being proactive, meaning instead of waiting to be asked. Okay? After a while, especially for those of us who've been in a long-term relationship or you've been married for a while, you know, you've pretty much have settled into a routine, right? For those of you who've been in long-term relationships, you know what the routine is. You know what you daily and weekly have to do, or monthly. You know the routines, right? Like if you own a house, every few months you got to change out the furnace filter, right? You got to vacuum. I don't know how often people vacuum, depending how dirty your house gets. Some people vacuum every day. Some people vacuum weekly. Um, so again, you just need to kind of figure out, you just in advance, you know what your regular chores are. Okay. It, it just do them. Like I'll take myself for an example. Okay. There's certain things I do, right, every week. Or let me, yeah, every week. So I don't need to be asked. I just do it. I set a time, a day to do it, and I do it. Now, am I consistent? I would say 90% of the time. Okay. Things come up, as you guys know, things come up, things pop up, and you may have to postpone it for a day or so. Like I clean the toilets. I clean the toilets in our house. Okay. So I do that every week. I do that on a weeknight every week. Okay. And there's some days and there's some weeks if we're going on vacation or something's happening or something is going on that it's too late and I'm tired, I'll put it off for the next day or the day after. Okay, no big deal. But my whole point is that I don't need to be asked, okay, or reminded. And you men, same thing. If you know you do, for instance, if you take the trash out twice a week, just do it. Don't wait for your wife to ask you. Okay. Now, if you have a lot of things going on, it may be helpful to set a reminder on your phone. The older we get, the less it's the harder it is for us to remember things, right? For those of us who are older. So I myself, I have like a huge like on my the reminder. I set myself a reminder right on my phone, right? So every day or every week, I have things that comes up that reminds me every day what I need to do. Okay, and after it's done, I just check it off, and then I set it so it repeats, so that next week, so when I check it off or when I delete it, the next one pops up for the following week. Okay, so again, if you don't know how to do that on your phone, find consult with someone that knows about phones. Probably, I would say your kids probably know more than we do, right? Than adults, but find someone that can help you set those reminders so that you don't have to be reminded by your spouse or partner. Okay. So, and that will eliminate being nagged altogether. If you could put everything that you need, that you know you need to do on your phone, or if you can remember to do it on your own, that's that many things that you won't need to be reminded of or nagged by your significant other. Okay. Um, Communicate your feelings to your partner. Your partner can't read your mind. Okay. Aim for compromise, not compliance. Your partner deserves equal respect. Give more and not keep score. Let your attitude be one of gratitude. Love who your partner loves. Value what your partner values. Okay, so now these two things, this is a little tricky. Okay. I know no two people are identical and we all have different opinions and preferences and this is going to be challenging, okay? Cuz obviously there may not be everything that your partner values that you value, that they value that you value, right? But I would just say speaking minimally out of respect, okay? For instance, I'm trying to think of an example of something that they could value that you don't value, or something your partner loves that you don't love. Let's say your partner loves let's say you both have a dog. Your partner loves that dog. You like the dog, but you're not that crazy about the dog, right? But I would say because your partner loves that dog, do your part to also love that dog. You don't have to love the dog to the extent that your partner does, but show some affection and let your partner know. I mean, if anything, don't let them just. It's a way of being supportive. Okay. So if your partner loves that dog, don't show that you hate that dog. Don't be annoyed with your dog. Don't yell at the dog, right? That's what I'm talking about. And as far as things that they value and don't value, hey, we're all different, right? If you're a guy, you like fishing and your wife doesn't particularly care about it, she may not value what you value, but she can still be supportive, right? Just like if your wife likes to, let me come up with an example of what women like to do. Women like to get their nails painted, right? Or they like to go get manicures or pedicures, or they like to go clothes shopping, right? Now, I know I'm one of those women. I love shopping. Okay. My husband does not. Okay. Now, I know, now my father in law loves shopping. So I don't know what happened to my husband, why he doesn't like shopping. But his father loves shopping. So everybody's different. Okay. So as an example, If your wife loves shopping, she values shopping and you don't, you can still be supportive, right? When she goes off to go shopping, you say, "Hey, hope you have a good time," right? Or if you both are together, and you don't want to stand around, you can find a chair. A lot of malls now these days have a seating area. If your mall has a seating area or somewhere they can sit outside, like a bench, okay, go find a bench and just sit down. Be patient. You can relax. Maybe you could get a cup of coffee and play on your phone while she's shopping. But it's just a way of just being supportive, okay? Um, and that's just there's other examples. That's the one example that just came to my mind. Okay. Um, okay, to offer a hug when your partner is sad. Offer a shoulder to cry on when she cries or when he cries. It works both ways, not just women. I'm just understand all these are for men and women. Okay. Seek to understand your partner's perspective before responding with yours. Now, this is an important one. A lot of times we're already thinking ahead, right? When you're having a discussion with your partner, you're already thinking what you're going to say next. Okay. And that's a common tendency. We all tend to do that. What I'm suggesting is what would be helpful and improve the communication is when you're communicating, seek to understand first. Okay. Because you know what? Sometimes you may think what you may already, the reason why a lot of us start thinking ahead of what we're going to respond, because we already know, we kind of think, oh, well, we already know what they're going to talk about. But sometimes, as I'm sure this already happened to you, you didn't get it right, okay? Maybe what she was saying is not what you thought. And this happens a lot, okay? So we don't want to assume that we know almost automatically what they're going to say and what they're going to finish saying. Out of respect, eye to eye contact, listen to what they're saying, listen intently, and make sure you're understanding what they're saying. Now, if they're saying something you don't understand, then you may want to repeat that back to her or him and just say, "Hey, if I'm hearing you right, do you mean this? This is what you mean." And sometimes it may not, maybe you didn't hear it right, and they will clarify it. Okay. This prevents misunderstandings. This prevents miscommunication because oftentimes when we assume the wrong thing, it could cause problems. Okay. And unnecessary problems, really. So if you just take that extra step to understand while they're talking and then confirm it if you're not sure, it will go a long way to improve communication. Okay. Um, Lead with love, respect, and kindness always. Okay. In my opinion, doing these random acts of kindness is what clearly determines the difference between a great relationship versus a mediocre one. What we're really talking about here is intentionally choosing to put your best forward every day and show up as the best version of yourself. Some of those acts are a no brainer and seem like common sense. However, you would be surprised how many people in relationships are not practicing kindness. Oftentimes, when people become too complacent in a relationship, they tend to also become lazy. And if not mindful, that laziness could gradually turn into laziness craziness. I encourage you to check out one of my past videos called How to Avoid a Toxic Relationship, Stop the Cycle of Laziness Craziness. In the video, I provide helpful insights into how laziness can become craziness and ways to prevent that from happening. Okay, so if you haven't seen that video, the past video of mine, please check it out. It is true. Okay, usually, I shouldn't say usually, okay, but sometimes a relationship starts out really great in the beginning, but in time, if we're not careful of continually practicing kindness, it we get lazy. And I actually termed the phrase laziness craziness. It could easily get to a point where it's like a slippery slope, folks, right? You have a little snowball and then it becomes a larger snowball. It gets to a point that the laziness does turn to craziness, because everyone needs to feel appreciated. Everyone, the relationship needs kindness. Without it, eventually it could become toxic. And then that's when the laziness turns into craziness. We need to realize relationships need daily, consistent nurturing and kindness. Think of a plant that requires sunlight, water, and nutrients to grow. Likewise, our relationships also require key elements to maintain relationship health, longevity, and happiness. Whenever you show kindness to your partner, you're making positive investments towards the health of your relationship. Make the investment even if you don't understand the value of doing so. Having regrets later when it's too late, when your partner passes, carry added emotional pain in the grieving process. Let me say this again. Having regrets later when it's too late, when your partner passes, carry added emotional pain in the grieving process. Okay, now for those of you who have lost a loved one, I have lost a loved one last year. Okay, for those of you who haven't, you still need to pay up and pay attention. Those of us who have lost a loved one, it is commonly said if you don't practice kindness, okay, you will have regrets when they die. Okay, you know how many times I've said it, other people have said it. It's when the would have should haves start coming out. It's when you start saying things like, if only I knew they were going to die. Had I known this sooner, I would have done this, or I should have done that, or I should have been nicer, or I should have been more patient, right? The would have, should haves could really add to your burden and to your grieving process. So it's important to not have those kind of regrets if you just take the time every single day, make that investment, and show loving kindness to your partner. Why wait until it's too late to be kind? There is no downside if you choose to be kind now. When you choose to be kind now, there is only the upside of building a loving relationship. You'll have everything to gain and not have any regrets later. People who don't give it their all in a relationship and withhold love and kindness are the ones who will experience great mental suffering and trauma in the grieving process. In summary, none of us will escape the fate of our human mortality. We have one life to live. How we choose to live has everything to do with what we give. Let me say this again. How we choose to live has everything to do with what we give. Are we willing to daily make the investment in our relationships and give our all by showing up as our best version of ourselves, or have we taken our relationship for granted? Having wisdom is meaningless if we don't take actions to align with the wisdom. Heeding wisdom is deciding to put into practice today to avoid the regrets of tomorrow. This is very important. Let me say this again, folks. Having wisdom is meaningless if we don't take actions to align with the wisdom. Heeding wisdom is deciding to put into practice today to avoid the regrets of tomorrow. If we're not living for love, then what are we living for? Love is the only thing that transcends time. Love never dies. Love is a precious blessing that should never be taken for granted. I encourage all of you to take some time out and think of ways you can be kind to your partner. It's never too late to start anew and make up for lost time, especially if you have taken your relationship for granted. May we remember to always practice random acts of loving kindness so that we can reap the blessings of a loving relationship now and forever. Okay, folks? So, I really enjoyed this video. I think this is something we should probably keep in the forefront of our mind every day. And I welcome you, if maybe go back and listen to this again, or actually start a list of your own. You can make a list of the things of ways that you can express your loving kindness to your partner. Okay. As I said earlier, every relationship is different. Every person is unique. Okay. What works for one person may not work for another person. So by all means, start your list today and start practicing. Okay. And you'll see how it's going to benefit your relationship. Okay. So folks, if you like this video, please click like and click share. If you know someone that could benefit from this video, please share it with them. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you can be kept abreast on all my future videos. And just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And I will see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.